I feel like from what you're saying in this replay, honestly, I can kind of tell you a big issue. A big issue right now is that it seems like you're blaming your team, and yeah, your teammate's probably an idiot. Whenever you're trying to look at a replay and you're saying that somebody jungled and that was the mistake, like you're already not paying attention to mistakes that are in the replay because those games are going to happen, but they happen for everybody. So it's like it's not like you're just specifically this was your bad game, or like somebody else went and had this guy jungle in their game too. But if they look at the replay and they get better from it, then they're going to be a better player than you. Either you need to like absolve yourself of those games and forget about them completely so it doesn't bother you and you don't think about it, or you need to like be able to ignore that person and look at the replay. You know what I mean?
Or figure out how to win with somebody jungling, because you can definitely do that. You can just include that as part of your strategy. Somebody's jungling in my game. Maybe if I just protect them by putting a ward so they can see people trying to gank them, then I win a lane.
I sent you the replay.
Like, you can still win games with the jungler. Sometimes it's almost even better because you don't have somebody sitting in your lane leeching your experience being useless like we've seen in so many of these other replays.
Yeah, if somebody's dumb enough to jungle, they're probably dumb enough to lose you the lane by being there.
Exactly.
It is a really limiting factor. Maybe it's not an issue for you, but maybe for some other people watching the stream, they're spending a lot of time blaming and kind of complaining about like how bad things are, or like how bad is this RNG that I have a jungler twice. Oh my fucking god! The thing is like the thing is like I went through a phase of my life though. Like I say of my life because it was like 2 months where I was actually just depressed as fuck. Getting people like this, it was actually ruining my life because I was just thinking like, how bad is my luck that I'm spending all my time playing this game that I like, but I'm getting these morons that like I'm just spending time getting dumber because they're just doing dumb things, saying dumb things, being dumb people. I felt like I was wasting my life because I was so obsessed with the fact how unlucky I was getting. And the thing is, like, that was actually a problem with me. You know, it's like maybe I am getting unlucky, but other people will deal with that better. That's the thing. Than me. So like I said, that's a me issue, and maybe it's not a you issue, but if it is a you issue, the way I solved it is just by realizing like, well, the way that I solve it is I just say, fuck it. In this game, I just have fun. Like this guy's being an idiot, I just try to have that's it. I just try to like have a good time in this game, because otherwise it's going to be very frustrating to try to deal with that. That's actually, I 100% cannot stress that enough. Like that is one of the biggest things that I want to
separate
that I want to do, and then
from being a victim.
Yes, exactly. The way that I do that is I don't emotionally invest myself into the game where it's like, please, Wraith King, please come to the lane. Come on, help me, help. I don't fucking care. I'll say, this guy's jungling. Okay, I'm going to have fun too this game. Maybe I'll go cleave build and try to carry. Maybe I'll play different, but like I'll try to focus on things that are just fun for me to focus on. Like I'll try to be like, okay, this lane's going to be incredibly hard because of the circumstance. Let's pretend I'm playing Smash and I'm playing against like a level 12 bot that's just super hard. You know what? Like you're in a hard situation, but remember it's a game and that you're having fun with it. You know, that's the thing.
So your name is literally I'm a bad boy, so I can't communicate. I assume that's probably because you were yelling at your teammates this week and you got muted, and you've been muted, so you cannot communicate with your team because your account has been muted. That just shows me that you get emotionally invested in these games too much. I do this too from time to time. In fact, my account is currently muted because somebody was feeding on my team and I told them they sucked, and now I'm muted. But
that's the thing. I want to interrupt you there because if somebody's feeding on your team and you tell them that they suck, that's not a problem with them. That's fucking you. You are the issue. Like, you should not be invested enough that guy is bothering you that much that you tell them they suck. You 100%. Should be able to not care if they're doing dumb shit in your game. You should be able to not care, because if you do care enough that they're doing dumb shit in your game, there are so many more mistakes that you were making because you were emotionally invested when you shouldn't be. That's the thing. And the way that I'm not emotionally invested is I fuck around. I pick Pudge. I suicide to towers with Skywrath. I just like try to have as much fun as I can. I'll go 6 null talismans and laugh my ass off showing my girlfriend how funny my build is and the ridiculous shit I'm doing, because then in the next game I'm not losing because I'm tilted from the last game that I was too emotionally invested in, because you can't control these things. They will happen. You will have fucking dumb teammates. You cannot control it. There's no point in arguing with them. Like, there's just no point. And do whatever you can to make it so that you don't get invested. That's all you need to do. I'm sorry. I had to point out that it's a you problem.
No, absolutely. Because I definitely also give people that advice. Like, and I know that I make the same mistake, like from time to time. The point that I wanted to make is that if you are not so invested emotionally in the game, and I think that people get really emotionally invested in wanting to have a good game. Like, everybody wants to have a good game of Dota. But what does that even mean? you were hoping somehow that your 3K team of 5 random players who have never met each other are going to play like Team Liquid did at TI. Like, that is your expectation for a good game because you watch Pro Dota and you think that that is a good game. Or maybe you've had like a few good games in pubs where your team actually does work together, or you like snowball out of control and you like carry the game. But if you actually think about how many games of Dota you play and how many times you don't get that experience, like, you need to change your definition of a good game of Dota. A good game of Dota should literally be, did I have fun and think that I played relatively well? Or did I learn something from this game? Because if that is your baseline, you have so much more room to be creative and do stuff. Because I think that a lot of the time, you're probably like, oh, okay, my Wraith King is jungling now, so this game is ruined. No, it's just another game of Dota. You have a jungling Wraith King. You have a solo lane where you can get solo experience and you can do solo stuff and play solo off lane, which is something you haven't probably been able to practice for the last 6 months or a year. So this is an opportunity to do something different than you've been doing. It's not ruined.
Perspective, man.
It's literally
it's all about your...
Yeah, it is. And if somebody's feeding, literally if somebody is intentionally feeding on your team, sometimes you have people on your team who are unintentionally feeding. So you just think about the intentional feeder as an unintentional feeder and you play the game anyway.
If you focus on this one thing, then you're going to gain 500 MMR, just like I did. Like, it's just that important. That's just Dota.
Yep. And I guess the last thing that I do want to talk about this particular replay is just that, I mean, if you weren't emotionally invested in complaining about this Wraith King jungling, in this lane, because you have nobody to create a barrier for you, you basically cannot use your Stormbolt. You can't play this like a normal offlane Sven where you just Stormbolt and you punch them, you Stormbolt and you punch them. So I would literally just go cleave build, and I would just build like a carry. I'd go cleave build, I'd end up going for like a blink dagger and a crit and try and just like be annoying to this anti-mage and try and one-shot him over and over when he's weak and split pushing, and I just out-farm him with my cleave. Because you have 0 mana, so what's the point in having Stormbolt?
Yeah, actually, I agree. I think that's probably the way that I would play this lane too. Is I would just like get cleave, push the lane out, cleave the lane out, go jungle, or pull up, cleave the lane out, go jungle, and yeah, just like try to get like really farmed in the game. Even like 1 point in cleave is super value. Once you get phase Vlads, even if you have cleave, you can just be this like. I definitely wouldn't go AFK there, but you can have you can just be this like you can just be like this presence up here. Like you can essentially like be like a Beastmaster where you're just pushing the lane, except without boars. Like you're use the cleave, and then once you have the Vlads, like you just pressure the tower really hard.
Yep.
Just kind of standing here is definitely not like I get that the Tusk is there and the lane is kind of, oh my god, this guy just keeps coming back to the lane and fucking stealing experience. Pushed in. That is so annoying. Oh my god, I would so totally fuck around in this game just to try to have fun. Seriously, I would go max cleave and just fucking farm and go blink data.
Yeah, dude, you literally just go for like the one-shot Sven build in this game, and it's actually good because they have 2 hyper mobility heroes. Actually, they have 4 heroes with escapes, so being able to one-shot people is super valuable. So you just go max cleave, you go crit, you go Echo Saber, you go Blink Dagger, maybe you get a Shadow Blade, and you run around just assassinating the Willow, the Tusk, the Anti-Mage, and the Quab, and you win the game. You make a huge amount of space for your team.
I would definitely do that, but not for like the greatest reasons. It's just that's the way for me to have fun in this game. Also, if this Wraith King wants to be an idiot and take the lane, you can just go cleave and jungle with like a Quelling Blade.
I think that if you have a player like this, you literally just avoid them like the plague. Like, if they come to your lane, you just immediately go to a different lane.
Just leave, yeah.
You just immediately go to the opposite side of the map because you do not want to be near them because they're not playing real Dota. They're not thinking about anything other than themselves. They're not going to help you. They're not going to work with you. They're not going to chain stun or try and get kills except on their time. So if they're going to come to your lane and they're going to contest you for last hits, or they're going to just like draw the enemy team to you because they're there, just leave. Like, that's how you play. You just completely ignore the fact that there's a Wraith King in this game, and you play as if he was an enemy. essentially.
Believe me, I've tried so many games to try to like convince these people out of what they're doing.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I've tried so many fucking times.
And
I've seen people try so many times. CCNC, Demon. I've seen all these players beg people not to feed, not to do shit, and it's like
once somebody's made the decision to do something like this, where they're going to jungle because they didn't get their role, or they're just intentionally feeding because they didn't get their role, or whatever, at that point, it's like they might as well just not be in the game. So that's how you deal with them. Is you continue to play or have fun or whatever, and just let them do their thing. And like you said, Jenkins, I think that this guy's eventually going to get a Radiance, right? And he's eventually going to start walking down lanes. I think that's when you have like a Blink Dagger and like a crit, because you've been doing your own thing and you've gotten some farm, you've like gotten a counter initiation item, and then you just counter initiate on the Wraith King. Like the Wraith King is going to eventually be relatively strong, and the Axe is going to jump on him because the Axe is going to make a mistake of like calling a Wraith King, and then
even Immortal players might sometimes make a mistake like that. It's like you just wait. If it doesn't happen, you just wait even longer. It'll eventually happen.
Yep. I mean, right here, like,
and if it doesn't, you just did your best to win a Dota game, so there's nothing to be upset about.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, right there, like they just took a fight on your shrine 4-on-5. Like this is what you're waiting for. You just like bide your time, get your farm, play around your team, and then you get return kills like this, and then that's how the game turns. Because all of a sudden you have like 5 cores in your team because you have this Wraith King who just decided not to support in jungle instead.